Let's bring in Mike Barrett now. He's a former intelligence officer for the Office of the Secretary of Defense, a former senior analyst for the Joint Chiefs of Staff, also served as strategy director for the White House Homeland Security Council under President George W. Bush. Sir, good afternoon. Tell us what to make of this.
Well, I think your report's exactly right. I mean, it's unlikely to think that Iran really wants to get rid of their nuclear program. What they're really saying is, let's buy some more time. So how do they take the the sanctions that have been imposed by essentially Western powers? There's some divisions there, and so as long as they can appear to look reasonable and they can come to the negotiating table and they can have conversations, they draw it out, which gives them plenty more time to go ahead and develop the weapons. To go ahead and figure out more about enriching the uranium and then develop the weapons programs and the platforms to deliver them and things like that. So I don't think that we've seen any evidence that they're really sincere about the conversation other than using the conversation as a stall tactic. Given that,
what's the best course of action in your estimation for the United States and our allies?
Well, that really is a challenging question. I mean, it certainly is true that these days being an Iranian nuclear scientist has a pretty short lifespan. So whether or not the U.S. or Israel or other countries are involved in that, there certainly are some activities going on the ground that are the kinds of things you would want to see going on. So heavy pressure in terms of the intelligence side of things. You do have to have the diplomatic negotiations, but really the negotiations are with our Western allies, with India and China and Russia, as opposed to with the Iranians. Because the issue here is you have to draw the line in the sand and either let them develop and have a nuclear program or not. And if you're going to do that, it's going to come to some form of likely conflict, whether it's rhetoric, whether it's low scale, or it's a full-scale conflict. I think that's the path we're headed down, because I don't see Iran giving up on this. It's really important to them domestically.
You've said that there are three potential outcomes here.
Sure. So basically, either they give up their program, which I don't think is going to happen. We decide to accede to their demand or to their desire to have those nuclear program, which leads to the nuclear weapons, which also leads to further regional nuclearization, which we're not likely to have happen, or frankly that there's then going to be some kind of conflict. There is one back door that would get us out of the open conflict, though, and I think that's what you see the Iranian president going after today, which is, can they sign a treaty that allows inspectors, but maybe those inspectors don't get to come in? They're non-American inspectors. We saw this in Syria with the Arab League, but then they put in inspectors. Took them 5 months to get in there. Took them a month to determine that there's not that much bloodshed. Now the inspections are going to continue. You know, we did this dance in Iraq for 10 years.
Yeah, we certainly did. And we see how that came out. Mike Barrett, good of you to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Well.